Well, hello. I'm Maria Pietroforte, your executive coach, and we're here today to talk about courageous conversations. What is it that causes us not to want to have those tough conversations? And what's the cost when we avoid them? Well, I can tell you that some of us, it's fear, it's conflict of views, it's escalation. We worry about damaging relationships. All sorts of things block us. I know that when I was early on in my career, I had a effective communications coach, and we were working on courageous conversations, conflict, confrontations, and I didn't like having those. I told her I was afraid, and I'll never forget what she told me. She goes, "What are you afraid of? These are words. It's not like somebody's going to hit you or harm you, your body, that type of thing." And I was like, wow, she's right. It's just words. Why am I, like a deer in the headlights? And I worked with her and I needed to understand, first of all, what was the business issue? I had to take out all of the personalization and get to the facts and get to the issue. And then I was able to move into confrontation. Another thing that was holding me back was just the old memories of, being a teenager, sneaking around, trying to get away with things. And then your parents or my parents asking me, how was it? What was it like going to the movies when I really wasn't at the movies? And I felt like I was being interrogated. So those old tapes and memories were also stopping me from having healthy conversations. So, what's the cost? What are you willing to give up? What is the cost? Well, I can tell you, when we don't have those conversations, we're stifling other people's growth. We're stifling our own joy, our own prosperity. There's a lot more room for gossip. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but gossip tends to grow. It gets bigger and it's more damaging. We're not moving in the direction that we need to as a company or as a department. So, how do you lean in? How do you embrace courageous conversations? Well, first of all, we need to be prepared. We need to understand, again, the business issue. We need to have ourselves centered and ready. We need to lead with empathy, not to be on the attack or on the defensive. One of the things that was hard for me is that I needed to learn to listen more than I talk. I had to keep my mouth shut and I needed to paraphrase and to ask more open ended questions to get information. So being direct, not being destructive, is really important. And reframing, I needed to reframe the situation that this was for the greater good. This wasn't like going into battle or whatever your head is telling you. So these things were important for me. And then there's that leadership angle. What do you want your team members, your peers, upper management to think of you? Do you want them to see you as somebody who's strong, who's building team, who's getting people to follow them because they're inspirational? Yeah, we do. We want those things. So, one of my mentors, and again, way back, told me that it's my job. I owe others constructive feedback, confrontational feedback. That is my job because if not, I'm keeping them from reaching their full potential. If they don't know what they're doing wrong or what others think, just all of that feedback that we don't always want to give, then I was at fault. And I did not like hearing that because I always wanted to see my team members blossom and do well. So, your key takeaways are that conflict, confrontation, Courageous conversations, they're not the enemy. Avoidance is. When you avoid having these talks, you're doing damage. That is something you need to remember. Also, that these types of talks, being totally honest and empathetic, they build trust, they build relationships. They are the way that you're going to set the tone and make progress. Remember, leaders set the tone. So if you're avoiding things, what message is that sending to your team members? So I'm going to challenge you. Now, remember, courageous conversations don't always happen in the workplace. They can happen at home, in your family, with your friends. So I'm going to challenge you to find one, and I guarantee you have one conversation that you've been avoiding, that you don't want to have. And I'm going to challenge you to have that conversation. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the other people in your life. Be courageous. You've got this. If you need any help, want some training, leadership coaching, I'm Maria Pietroforte, and I'm here for you. Thanks for joining.